Hi, welcome to the Entrepreneurial Immigrant. My name is Peter Gutu, and today I'm going to share with you my top 10 tips on how you could find success as an immigrant.
All right, let's begin our countdown. The number one thing that you have to make sure that you do before you leave your country to move to another one is to make sure that you have researched the country that you're moving to. Make sure you know what jobs are available, how much the rent is, the weather, things that will affect you when you actually get there. Most people just get on a plane and just take off to a new country they know almost nothing about. This, ladies and gentlemen, sets you up for failure. Tip number two: when you finally get to your country of destination, you should make sure that you delay your gratification. What do I mean by that? What I mean is that you should strive to live within your means. You should not go crazy and start buying stuff you don't need or living a life that you cannot afford. A lot of people make that mistake when they go to a new country, they get stuff and access to credit and such like um, benefits that they never had in their country of origin, and they just go crazy buying cars, living in expensive houses, and they have nothing coming in. So delay your gratification until you've settled down, you have a job, you're in your field of work, you're comfortable, and then you can indulge in, you know, all the luxuries that money can buy. But before you have actually settled down, delay your gratification. Tip number three: immediately you land, start networking. Get to know people in your field of work. Get to know people from your country of origin. Get to know, if you're a Christian, get to know where the church is. Get involved in the society so that you, from day one, you have people that you can rely on and fall back to when you have problems. So, tip number three: network. Tip number four: start earning money as soon as possible. Whatever job is available, whatever is bringing in the money, go ahead and do that. Always keep the bigger picture in mind. So you're not going to be there forever. All you're going to do is be there as you figure out what you need to do to get to where you want to go. Do not just sit in the house and use up the money that you moved with. A lot of people make that mistake. They move with substantial amounts of money and they choose jobs. So before you know it, they know it. 6 months are over. They have been choosing jobs all the way. They've never got what they really wanted as a job, and they keep bypassing jobs, saying that they can't do those kind of jobs. At the same time, whatever money they had is depleted. So then they end up broke and still doing the jobs that they were avoiding. So whatever you do, the first thing you have to do is start earning money. That brings us to tip number five. You have got to know exactly what you want out of that country. You have to know exactly what you're after and how practical it is that you'll be able to achieve it. Do not walk around clueless. A lot of people have gotten into that problem of just losing focus, and before they know it, 10 years are over and they have completely lost direction. And it's a sad thing when you come across immigrants like that who've been in a new country. Well, it's not new anymore to them because they've been there 15, 20 years, and they've actually achieved nothing at all. They're even worse off at that point than they were before they left their home country. So you have to know exactly what you want out of that country. Tip number 6: always stay focused. Always look at the bigger picture. When you move to a new country, it's not easy. Most times, you have to start from the bottom. You have to start as a brand new graduate would start, regardless of the number of years of experience you had. So that throws off a lot of people, and they lose they lose their self-esteem. They just break down. But if you keep the bigger picture in mind and you stay focused on what exactly you want, it's not easy, but sooner or later you will get confident enough to push in the direction of where you need to be, and you keep at it until you actually achieve what you want. Tip number 7: this goes without saying. You have got to learn the language and the culture of the country that you've just moved to. This is crucial in finding work, getting along with people, getting along with your neighbors, being able to communicate, because there is no way you can succeed as an immigrant in a country where you do not speak the language. That, ladies and gentlemen, is something which is completely impossible. So, learn the language, learn the culture. Okay, so tip number 8: when the going gets tough, as it usually does, you need supportive people around you. So, my next tip is always hang around positive people. Do not waste your time hanging around negative people, because all these people do is bring you down. They will tell you what is not possible, they'll tell you that you're wasting your time doing certain things, and ultimately, if you hang around with them, you end up believing them, then you're done. Do not hang around negative people. Tip number 9: when you move to a new country, it goes without saying that you leave your social structure and your social support structure back home. So you move to a new country, you know a handful of people if you're lucky, you have no one to talk to most of the time, everyone around you is new, and you're out of your comfort zone. The weather also affects you depending on which country you go to. So you find that sometimes you feel low and you feel down. I would strongly advise you to avoid heavy alcohol consumption, and obviously drugs, any kind of recreational drugs, as a way to escape that feeling down and to make you, to give you that temporary happiness. Do not get into heavy drinking, because what that does, it just derails you, it makes you feel worse, and before you know it, you're an alcoholic, and your world just crashes after that. So avoid heavy alcohol consumption and recreational drugs. That brings us to tip number 10: never ever allow yourself to give up on your dreams. Keep pushing, keep pushing. Always remember that you have people back home who love you. So, for any reason, if your trip is not a success, you can always go back home. Do not allow yourself to go to the pits of life, living off the streets in desperation, when you have a home you can always go back to. Over the years, I've come across people who've had their dreams crushed and they end up homeless on the streets, when in actual fact their family back home are looking for them. So do not allow yourself to go down to that level. Always remember you have a home. Always remember you have people who love you back home and would openly accept
There
you
you
back.
have it, ladies and gentlemen. Those are my top 10 tips on how you could find success as an immigrant. Be sure to follow me on my Facebook page as well as my blog, where I will do three things. I have made it my life's purpose to 1. Educate, 2. Motivate, and 3. Help immigrants integrate into society.